Okay, I'm ready. All right, as I mentioned yesterday, we've got a change here on the position papers. We're going to focus that more. They were always on your syllabus. We moved them back quite a few weeks ago, and now we're going to focus you guys in on them. So what I've handed out today is your position paper topics, and what you need to do here in this next week, because by next week we're going to start really deploying this thing. We've only got 6 weeks left. You've got to go through here and look up, decide your first topic and possibly your second topic. The cool thing about this is your final discussion board 3, I'll open that up to any sustainability discussion. So you can actually use part of this for both of them. Do you see it? Get what I'm saying here? It'll just be any sustainability topic for discussion board 3. You'd start your own thread and go for it. So some of the research, some of the thinking could be in your discussion board. You're just going to expand it into the position paper and take a position. Okay. So quickly, a position paper is you're going to do the actual research on a certain topic. So let's pick one that's kind of easy for all of us to get our heads around. Are GMOs an appropriate technology in the USA? Okay, genetically modified organisms. We've been over those. There's tons of research out on that. We know there are health effects. There's genetic issues. We don't want these to cross-pollinate with other issues. There's definite health issues in terms of people are very worried that GMOs are causing health benefits. And the question is it an appropriate technology? It's a kind of technology. And one of the principles we haven't talked about much yet, this would be for later classes, is the principle of appropriate technology. Okay? So technology is not always great. We've kind of got that beat into our head. You know, definitely if it's the latest iPhone, it has to be appropriate, right? You've got to have it. Come on. It's got that new camera or whatever it is. You've just got to have it. Well, it's not always appropriate. So is that technology appropriate in the United States? Now, it might be appropriate, and you would make the case in your position paper, it might be appropriate in Africa if we're talking GMO corn that can grow in a very drought-tolerant situation where there's a lot of desertification going on, right? Where there's a drought, climate change, you can make all those cases. So you'll write a position that the full description, little description on position paper is in your syllabus. If you need to refer to that, I'm getting some feedback, so I'm going to walk back here. I think it's from that mic. So those are some of the topics. So your task for the next week is to pick a topic. If you're ready for it, you will go ahead and start doing the research. Did they tell you how to get on the library the other day? Remind me, did he not tell us? Who knows how to do that? Can you just tell everyone real quick in your loud voice?
So there's actually a catalog that you go on, and it has like a library, and it has article database and all that, and you can actually look up keywords that you need to actually.
Sure. How do you sign up? First thing is, good, I want you to say that again, but first thing is, how do they sign up?
How do you sign up?
In the library.
All you have to do is actually go in the library, and you can create your own account,
yes,
username and password, and you keep that, and then sometimes you could just get a new one.
And your username is your student number?
Yes, and you can also change that to your life.
Okay. So I think would it be the same as your access to Web Advisor and everything else? The username is a different one.
Yeah,
so you enter your thing, and then you enter your student name, then it allows you to create a new password, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They also help them.
So you guys need to start doing that and start playing around with keywords. We're going to get, hopefully by next week, we're going to get some more help from the Writing Center in how to search. Not actually, this will be from the library. I've made an inquiry to the library. So hopefully by Monday or Tuesday next week, we'll get some help with how to search, because just using a keyword, go ahead and continue with what you were saying about how you search. I'm just going to paraphrase what I heard so far. You get onto the library, you get in there, and there's a bunch of research articles, and they're normally listed under databases. One that I would recommend highly for you, and you might want to write this down, is EOLS. It's the Encyclopedia of Life Support Systems, EOLSS. Okay? and it's got a lot of articles. So if you put in GMO and then your specific issue, GMO in the United States, or whatever your position you're taking on. So you're going to do first of all, you're going to figure out what MLA is. That's one of the handouts. Right? That's the format we're going to do it. And your first project for this in the first week, which will start next week, will be to do an annotated bibliography, where you go in, you've got the citation. This is a GMO research article from UC Davis looking at the health effects, for example. You make that up and make sure it's in MLA format. Then you're going to do a short little paragraph summary of what they're talking about. Okay? And you're going to do for this particular topic, and I did not write this down, Lynn, I think we need to decide on this, but I would like you to do it. I want you to have four research papers that you cite. Okay? 4 papers. 4 articles or papers. It can be articles or research papers, but again, if you take them from these kinds of sources, they could be, for example, from a book. The ones that I gave you earlier along in this class for that second discussion board, those were actually from a book. Okay? But they're not just from Victor Valley Daily Press, right? Where maybe the information is good, maybe it's not so good. It's basically refereed. So real quick, refereed. Who wants to take a shot at what a refereed article is or scientific project? Come on, you can. She knows.
Basically just like an article that you go back and refer to. Like.
Nope. Sorry, wrong answer. Refereed means it's peer reviewed. Okay, so I did my research at my master's thesis on freezing and splitting horse embryos. When I submitted it to the Journal of Theory of Genealogy, which is one of the journals that people into this read and believe to be good articles, there were 4 or 5 people that understood that kind of research, that refereed it and looked at it. What was the design of the experiment? How did I analyze it? What were my conclusions? Were they valid, or did I make it all up? Which has happened, right? And with those are refereed journals. Okay, so the journal, the New England Journal of Medicine, is one of the most famous, right? And even then, they can have one put across on them. Like a few years ago, there was a diabetes article, research that came out that was just completely fabricated. And it actually made it into the New England Journal of Medicine. And that's really bad, because now we're not talking just fake news about all the stuff we're hearing now, but that's fake science. And that can lead to some serious consequences. So you're going to have 4 articles / scientific experiments from refugee journals or from some article out of a recognized magazine. For example, the kind of magazine that publishes this, that's kind of refereed, that the editors really look at it, would be Nature, the magazine Nature. Okay. Yes.
So
and I'm going to come back to your question.
4 sources for each topic?
For each position paper. You have 2 position papers. These are suggested topics up there. I'd like you to try to stick within those unless you have a good reason kind of not to. That way, us as instructors, we're actually going to go and split it up amongst the 4 instructors that teach this class. We're actually going to do some of those ourselves. So bring ourselves up to speed. Okay? Yes. Yes.
Oh, well, I was just curious. So the sources don't all have to be academic?
No, they could be from like I said, there's a great question. Okay, so let's do it this way. I'll give you one that can be just straight off the internet, because you know by now once you understand the topic, you might be able, one can be off the internet or could be a personal interview. Okay, you might know someone. For example, on our field trip, we're going to meet Tim Hayes, who's going to advocate for GMOs out in Hinckley. Okay, so you could actually speak to him and ask him a few questions. That would be one of your references. So let's have one of them that's not a refereed or a article from some recognized source. How about that?
And
Does that answer your question?
we could use
And that includes internet. Yes, good.
books.
Books, absolutely. And you can even use your own book as one of your sources. Yes, yeah, absolutely.
And there's another like websites that are like nonprofits that are doing work outside in the field that use like.
If they're a website, then that's going to come from the internet. That'll be your one from the internet. Okay. Does it make sense? But be careful. Very good point, Sam. If you're going to go on the internet, go to a place that has credibility.
Yeah.
If it's Neville Slade's sustainability, you're like, yeah, I don't even know that guy. I went to his house and, whatever.
I went to his pool.
Yeah, I went to his pool. It's a mess. Okay, so read this stuff. Be ready to go next week, all right? Does that make sense? Yes, question.
When is the second position?
Second position paper deploys in about 2 weeks. We'll probably push that back a little bit, and it's due at the very end of the semester. What? The peanut gallery over here. All right, so you guys good? Can we stop the recording? Thank you very much.